Let's talk a little bit more about the story in the news about Tracy Crouch and the fixed odds betting terminals. There's talk the Chatham and Aylesford MP is considering resigning as sports minister over the delay in cutting the maximum stake to £2. If she were to resign, I imagine we'd be hearing in the next 60 minutes or so. We shall find out. Let's talk to the Labour MP Carolyn Harris, who's the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on fixed odds betting terminals. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. If I keep having to say fixed odds betting terminals, I'm going to get it wrong at some point. It's a mouthful,
Say
isn't it?
FOBTs.
FOBTs. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've been a help already. Firstly, as far as you're concerned, where are we with the timing of the stake reduction?
Disappointed that we I'd hoped that we would get it for April next year, April 2019, and then it looked as if we were going to have a year later, which was April 2020, and then for some reason, and I firmly believe this was as a result of some kind of compromise deal that the government made with the bookies, they are saying October 2019. Now, in those 6 months between when we want it and when the government is saying they will do it, the bookies will make nearly £1 billion in profit. But during that time, countless lives will be lost, countless homes will be broken, countless people will lose their dignity, and all because these machines are as addictive as any drug or alcohol, and the bookies are exploiting the vulnerable people who are addicted to them.
The government is saying there is no delay, and actually they didn't promise that it was going to be coming in earlier than October in the first place.
Well, in an impact assessment in May of this year, which was published, the government said it would take between 9 and 12 months to implement. That was in May, sorry. Well, do the maths, that puts it at May next year at the latest. And now we're talking 6 months later. Not acceptable.
Should Tracy Crouch MP stand down?
Tracy is one of the most principled people I know, and that's a decision for her. If she does stand down, she would have done so for the right reasons, and that is because she knows that any delay in implementation is wrong and it is immoral. And if she does stand down, she'll have my 100% support, because she's a worthy woman who has principles, and she's a bit of a hero to me today.
If you were Tracy, would you?
Probably.
The Culture Secretary, Jeremy Wright, said it was important to give enough time for betting companies to prepare for the job losses this change might result in. You said they would make £1 billion. I guess if they're not making that billion, they're probably going to have to shut a lot of shops and people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about an industry which allows single working, so you have lone workers working in the bookies till 10 o'clock at night. So if they're that concerned about their staff, they could double up on staff, if not put treble up on staff, so they would be able to redeploy there. You're talking about an industry which has introduced self-service machines, so that you don't even need to have a body in the shop. Why would you do that if you were that worried about your staff? There are plenty of opportunities for them to redeploy their staff and to remove this technology they say will make things more efficient. There's nothing more efficient than the human.
Well, can I ask you, if I get a bit of money in my pocket and I want to go down and use one of these fixed odds betting machines or terminals, why shouldn't I? Why should the government stop me from doing that above £2?
Well, it's at the moment it's £100 every 20 seconds, and if you've never ever seen these machines, you won't appreciate just how addictive they are, and they are built deliberately to be addictive. They are the lights, the sound, the motion, the speed, everything about these machines is almost hypnotic. You speak to someone who has an addiction to them, and they say that how much they lose or win is completely irrelevant. It's the activity of playing on the machine that gives them the kick. Now, we allow people to have treatment for drugs, we allow people to have treatment for alcohol, and yet we're encouraging them to walk into a high street, high stakes environment, and we're giving them their drug of choice on a plate. That's why it's so dangerous.
But surely we have personal responsibility and personal control.
But we don't say that about drug addicts. We don't say, oh, well, they shouldn't take the drugs.
We do say that about drink, for instance, don't we?
Obama
is expected to turn you away Obama is expected to turn you away if you're being sick on the floor. But you know, I could go out and drink 15 pints tonight if I wanted to, and the government wouldn't tell me I wasn't allowed.
No, but you say we have got regulation which says that we shouldn't be allowing people to drink at that, but we know for a fact that people ignore that. This is different. This is the drug element. Would we allow a heroin dealer to stand on High Street and to sell people drugs openly, knowing that how much harm and danger those people are in? No, we wouldn't. These machines are as dangerous as heroin.
Would you tell us in a nutshell, well, I suppose it's impossible to do it in a nutshell, but about the impact that these machines, in your perception, are having beyond the people using them? Because you were talking there about people who were over the poverty line and affecting children, and you even said it would lead to deaths.
Well, we've had deaths. I mean, the trouble is, I can't tell you how many, because coroners don't record addiction to these machines on the suicide notice. But I've met many mothers who've lost sons through an addiction to these machines. Some of them had actually were if you want to think that they were in remission from the machines, but had started doing it again and knew where that problem was going to lead and took their life before they got to that position. I've had people phone me, I'll take that back, tweet me on Christmas Day to say that they had enough money to go home, had got as far as a bookies on Christmas Eve, had spent all their money, and now we're in some motel, it was actually in Reading, thinking about taking their life, and that's come through to me on a Christmas Day. You know, these machines caused absolute devastation. They remove people's dignity, and they stop the brain from thinking properly. It is a dreadful, dreadful situation.
Thank you very much. Labour MP Carolyn Harris, who's the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on fixed odds betting terminals.